People are still getting sick with COVID on the regular. The way that the way that the American pharmaceutical companies advertise COVID, medication like right alongside cold medicine makes it feel like that was their plan all along. They're like, well, this is something we can sell more medication for. The little girl ran by me and fell down. She looked very shocked about it. Anyway, I'm trying to become a professional rambler. Oh, please let me know how you think I'm doing. But the thing I'm trying to get back around to is, where am I going after this? Where's the next destination after Hoi An? Well, like I said, I'll post it later. I'm not exactly sure. My thoughts right now are Thailand or China. Like I said, I'll come up with more than just two options, but I'll pick one place. It won't be Bangkok, but I'll pick a place in Thailand. And I'll pick probably three different destinations in China. And that's just because China's big. There's a lot of places to go see there. And, I guess I want to get started. So if people are more interested in Thailand, and Thailand is interesting and fun, and, wouldn't be a wrong answer at all. So I'll put that on the list. But every other place is going to China, I think. And I think that's regardless of whether I move there. I'm hoping he can get that visa and I'll be there, in which case this will be an even easier transition. But, well, another thing to remember is I don't think it's going to cost an arm and a leg to move back. But I should have the money to take a trip and move back. And not hopefully, I'll just tell Yuri I want to do this. And he said that I can work this, what do you call this? What are you going to first? The Pottery Village it's called Terracotta Park. We're going to look for a place called Terracotta Park inside the village. The coffee, the Zoe Tu no Miniature World. Hey, Zoe Numa. Miniature World, Altan Museum. Alright, so there should be enough here to occupy us, entertain. Do you have a scan?
No. No here, okay.
Namui?
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Dạ chị ơi.
So I'm going to save this for later.
Mình đi dọc cái đường vàng á.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
You can go this way to see the first miniature world.
First miniature world. Okay, sorry. Let me put these tickets away. Okay. Where is this thing? Look down that way.
Go stay outside.
Okay, so there's two different things. Thank you. Come on. Oh, hello. Let's go the other way. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so it's two different things. This is a museum, and online it was listed as a park, and it did show this picture though. So I think I'm at the right place. This is the museum, and it's a separate entry from the village, which is, I guess, around the corner. Feels like we got some decorations left over from Christmas. Flowers. I hope it comes through on the video, but these flowers are very colorful. Good Lord, the ground is very uneven here. I keep stumbling over bricks that are jutting up out of it. I guess they wanted to do everything terracotta, so the brick. I don't know why that makes them stick up, but they are. It's a nice little display fountain.
Tết này hay Tết mỗi năm, đưa mình chuẩn bị cả một bờ bao món ôi giấc mơ sang căm vượt qua đường vơi. Năm nay tôi có chuyện chưa mọi người thì câu cũng nằm nhà đã vào xuôi vẫn cuối năm được thêm vui
I don't know if I've been running that crawler. Crawl. I hope I'm supposed to be on this bridge. It's not so solid. Maybe it's just meant for display. You're not really supposed to walk on it. Nice terracotta replicas of famous buildings from around the world. Sagrada Familia, I like that. Oh wow, that's just a few of them. Actually, there's a ton over here. Leaning Tower, the Apostolic Palace. Taj Mahal. I'm not sure about this one. What is it supposed to be? I don't know. This one would be Hoi An. Cute. You know, we could say Notre Dame because it's a big cathedral, but I actually don't think it is. But, you know, it could just be a really bad replica. I'm not sure what church that's supposed to be. A lot of churches. They do have something written here. Nope, that's about the flowers. I wonder if that's supposed to be the Japanese covered bridge. That's looks like one of the Cham sites. I'm not sure. This may be why they listed it as a park online, because you get stuck out here in the courtyard outside and never make it into the museum. It's pretty cool. I'm going to admit a lot of these Eastern sites I don't know. I know this is one from India. I'm fairly sure it's a famous site in Hinduism, but could not tell you the names of any of those. I've never been to India. It's one of those places I'd love to go to, but from where I'm at now, it's kind of an expense and a trip, and there's just so much close by to see that I've yet to justify the expense of a vacation going out there. But certainly hope to do it one day. Like, this is from Hanoi. We've been to this site. It's Confucian Temple of Literature, with the giant daffodils or whatever those are. You don't get to walk down this area the between area here in the actual site. Now they won't. Oh, and look, it's the mausoleum. Oh, these are all Vietnamese sites, so that's the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. And then behind it on to the left there is the one pillar pagoda, both in Hanoi. But this one I'm not sure about. Oh, Dinh Bang Communal House. Okay, we saw replicas of communal houses at the museum in Hanoi, but Dinh Bang Communal House is used for the worshipping of Khao Sun Dai Vung, the mountain spirit, Tui Ba Dai Vung, the water spirit, and the god of agriculture, together with 6 individuals who merit in rebuilding the village in the 15th century. No, this one. Let's see. It says the citadel of. Oh, that's the Hue. Okay, well, that's not the whole thing. It's like Hue is basically the Vietnamese forbidden city. In fact, it's usually referred to. The site is referred to as the forbidden city, but fragile. Especially the small parts of miniatures. A slight touch can even cause damage. However, most visitors want to touch ceramic products for a real feeling. So, therefore, this product is touchable for all visitors' experience. The others in the park should not be touched. Well, that's good. Clay is the only raw material needed by local potters, but obtaining this resource can be a long and arduous process. Pottery Village was originally built in Tan Tiem because it has large reserves of clay, but by the early 19th century, these ancestors had moved to about 5 locations and bought land in the district of Dien Ban Zui Chen and Zai Kwang's clay is yellow with a high viscosity. Unlike the white clay of the Bat Trong pottery, Bat Trong is a village close to Hanoi. It's a really cute little village. It also should be on a tourist list of day trips, and should only be used as a principle. Clay is transported to Nam Dao by boat or car. Gay Bao, that's the wooden barge. Boat exemplary as a distinctive product of Vietnamese marine craft, as recorded in the the Maritime Dictionary. Little motorbikes. That's cute. These are not expensive either. The pumpkins are $150. Some of those ones over there. This one's just $25. Just want a terracotta cup. This is the sort of thing I had in mind when I said we'd do giveaways. And then the other day when I went to Marble Mountains, I bought some serious stuff and spent a lot of money, like more than I had wanted to. But I'm going to send one of them to Russ. He's been a long time viewer, so I appreciate his dedication to the channel. I was a little afraid the workshop was the place where they were going to want me to do, because for some reason it's a tourist thing. Everybody wants you to try the craft that you're looking at. It's like, I don't really need to. I know I'm no good at it because I've never tried it. I will never do it again, so it's not going to be useful for me. I'm not sure what you're supposed to get out of, fumbling around with some clay for a few minutes. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. See, I expected it to be like a class like you would get in the States, where someone is instructing you on how to shape the stuff. But everybody just seems to be hanging around doing their own thing. There's somebody getting instruction up there right now in the little building. Everybody else is just doing their own thing. I mean, I still don't want to do it, but hi, United States, America, me, me. Oh, by the way, I got the screen pointed away from me, so if there is a comment out there, I'm not seeing it right now. But I'll turn it back. Salt is not as bad for you as sugar. Now, obviously, if you have a heart condition or a cholesterol problem, you should listen to whatever your doctor says. But so far as I know, there's nothing that says salt is just inherently bad. I don't think it is. You're watching a woman sweep in Hoi An. This is, I put it on as Pottery Park. It's a museum. It's just about the pottery of the Pottery Village, which is next door, which we're going to go to in about half an hour. And we're just wrapping up our vacation here in Hoi An. I'm having a salt. I'm not planning it yet, but I'm rolling around in my mind. Because I say that because not my visa, but my contract, my work contract is up in May. Yuri wants me to go to China, and I want to go to China. I mean, I'm on board with that as well. Back to China to work in Chenzhou, where I lived before. I want people to see it, but also I just love living in China. Vietnam is lovely as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. This was a quick, a quick trip for the New Year's holiday that was close to Hanoi. Didn't need to worry about flying. I came here on the overnight train. I'll go back on the overnight train. So that adds to the delight. So sorry about my allergies. They actually may not sound like it, but they are getting better because I'm taking pills. But anyway, this has been great. I'm really glad I came. And this time I was able to enjoy myself. And luckily, I mean, I think I'm moving into the phase of life where I don't really drink anymore. That may seem unrelated, but when you're young and you're, a drinker and you go out with friends a lot and you're frequently at the bars, probably don't realize how much you spend. So one of the reasons I was able to enjoy myself was I didn't really have to worry about a mammoth bar bill one night, just because I got carried away and couldn't stop or didn't stop. The thing about drinking is when you say, oh, I couldn't stop, what usually happens is you start drinking, you get your judgment impaired, and then you're like, oh, why would I? You're not trying. That's the whole point. Once you've had a few, drinking a lot more sounds like a terrific idea because, your judgment is not the best. But I think that when you get older, it doesn't happen anymore because it no longer sounds like a good idea. Even when you're drunk, you already know all the, the physical repercussions that are going to come because of it. So you're like, yeah, I drank that beer and now I already don't feel good. And so I drank a few beers the other night at the restaurant and I started feeling dehydrated because that's been a problem the whole next one. Well, even if the China thing falls through and I end up staying in Vietnam, I don't plan to stay long term in Hanoi, but I might stay there another year, but I'll have to work in more time off, honestly, because I don't feel like they gave enough. I would do that. My hope is that the China visa will come through, but I'm going to have to just keep everybody on hold until I can see whether or not I can tell whether or not Yuri's going to be able to get the stuff. And I should say, till I have a good idea, because the whole reason I'm in Vietnam now is because I had worked with getting a visa for a school in Changsha for a year and a half. And when it finally came down to it, and I was in Hong Kong actually applying for the visa with all the paperwork done, they messed up the paperwork. And I didn't have any money at that point. And I told them, I said, if you want me to stay and keep trying to get this visa, continue trying to get the visa, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for my hotel. You're going to have to pay for my food. You're going to have to pay for me to be here because you screwed up. They screwed up the paperwork on their end. And, they couldn't do it. They can't, free up the funds for that. And I was like, well, then you don't need a teacher. After all that time and effort and money spent on both ends, I had to find an alternative, and it was the easiest thing in the world to come back here. And guess I won't say I got a job as soon as I came back, but it was fairly quick. I was able to find tutoring sessions. So I guess the moral of the story is I did love living in China, and I would love to go back. But some things are just easy. A lot of things are just easier here in Vietnam. And Vietnam's nice. The only complaints I have is that I live in Hanoi, and it's fine for a big city, but I don't really want to stay in a big city. I would much rather find a place like this, not a tourist place, like this size, or even Da Nang. Da Nang was lovely. It was clean. People were nice. The feeling everywhere you went was laid. I still do. I tutor 4 students. I mean, I assume I'm going to have them after the holiday. I assume they haven't gone anywhere. But I'm doing, I've got support students tutoring. I'm not really trying to recruit any because I'd like for my Vietnamese to get better before I try and take on. And he had no experience doing it at all. And man, he was able to get everything that he wanted or needed done. And it was partially because he was a rich guy, but it was also partially because he just like got it done when he needed to get something done. He knew what to do, and if he didn't know, he found out, and then he went and did it. And I see a lot of people are not like that, And so for Yuri, we'll see. I know he's going to try his best, which is all I can ask. And I can't do it. Yuri was asking me earlier what I needed to get the visa, and I'm like, I don't need anything because all I need to do is turn in the paperwork to the visa office. So I guess what we'll do is work backward. I'll tell him what I need to turn into the visa office, and then he'll come back and go, oh well, in order to get that, we need this. Okay, great. So then let's progress. We're going to have to go each step because if I just try and it's the sort of thing where if you don't see it from the beginning, you really don't know what you're doing each step for, which means you may very well not do it correctly, as the school in Changsha did not. For whatever reason, I was getting the visa in Hong Kong, and they had marked down Houston on the paperwork. And apparently that's a big deal and not easy to change. You have to start from scratch. Like Houston, Texas. I have no clue why and why they did that. I should have known better not to go with that school, but way back when Vietnam canceled its program letting people stay during COVID, I was just ultra desperate to try and figure something out. That'd be why. Let's keep panning. I've forgotten left you in the same spot. At first I thought, boy, it's almost in bad taste to talk about the next vacation when you're still on this one. But like I'm cheating on my vacation. But that is kind of the concept of the perpetual tourist. The best time to start planning your vacation is before you finish the one you're currently on. Because I just think it's a good time to do it when you're relaxed. Although I should say I'm not talking about picking a place now. I'll put that off until we get back. And although I can imagine a future where if the channel were successful, I would absolutely when we're done doing our sightseeing. We'll do an episode where we talk about the next place to go and then put a poll out to see where people want to see us go. And we'll go there. Totally see that. But we won't do that quite yet because we're not. I mean, I still have to go back to real life tomorrow. Like, little girl. There might be a way, although I don't know what it is, to get the gimbal to pan across not a 360, but to pan across slowly so that I don't have to keep manually moving it from position to position. I have to learn more about this gimbal. Okay. So that is what I want to do when I get back. Compile a list of potential next destinations for May. The first step in all of that would be figuring out exactly when I'll have the time off. When does my contract end? And I guess it doesn't matter whether I'm going back to Chenzhou this year or whether I'll be staying in Hanoi. It's basically down to those two. If I stay in Vietnam, I'll stay in Hanoi this time. I try to save up a little more money. But after 2 years, I'll be done in Hanoi. A lovely city though it is, I would much rather move outside of. And I haven't quite seen all the potential locations in Vietnam that I think would be good. But I would definitely move south. Haiphong is the port city close to Hanoi, and it was potential in my mind anyway for a place to live, town to live in. But I went there on the little New Year's trip I did, and it's fine. It looks lovely, and it probably is a nice town to live in, but it didn't bowl me over like I thought it would. Da Nang, on the other hand, pretty nice. It was a pretty nice town. On the list of places that I would like to find out more about, because they seem like they would be fantastic, would be Dalat, far in the south. And one of the big benefits of being in Dalat is that it's in the center of the agricultural province that Terry does a lot of work in. So maybe I could help him out. I don't know. But I feel like any of these places, tourist places, would be a great place to teach adults who just want to learn English for their, to interact with the public. I totally think I could. Not just if it weren't in the United States, but because it's part of the United States, the economy is terrible. And of course, I mean for like a working class person that's just looking for work, looking for a job. That economy is terrible. For rich people, maybe it's great. I don't know. But there's little to no town. There's no economic activity going on. It seems like, despite being a fairly popular tourist destination for vacation destination for Koreans and to a lesser degree Japanese now. They talked a lot when I was there. Charlie talked a lot about the good old days when the Japanese were there, and there's a lot of like speculation about what made them leave. And there are some incidents online that are pointed to, but I never really take those explanations at face value because I don't think large shifts like that happen because of individual incidents. Like, I forget, it was some kind of crime or something, but let's say somebody got murdered. One murder is not going to dissuade tourists on large scale. Now, if it happened over and over again, well, then you got a bigger problem than just that one, incident. But I think it was something like more basic and simple, which is the Japanese. Well, first off, Okinawa was already a tropical island. I don't think they really necessarily need to come all the way to, and it's expensive for stupid reasons, like the rest of the country. Like, you get to the airport and there's no bus service. There's not even like a shuttle bus for tourists to get into the hotel zone. You've got to pay $50 for a cab, and $50 for a cab is, I don't know about Japan. I've never been there. I'm sure it's not as cheap as some other places, but I'm sure it's not as expensive as the U.S. $50 for a cab is standard in the U.S. because Americans don't take cabs. And anywhere else, the distance you're talking about is $1, $2 at most. And to go from that to 50 is absurd because they don't have a shuttle bus, or any. Probably could have had one when I stepped off the plane. But anywho, I had a good permanent, like, full-time job that was waiting for me here in Hanoi. And it's just, well, in Hanoi, not here, but in Hanoi, at a kindergarten. And I didn't know, this was back during the pandemic. I didn't know to take it because I still thought I was going back to China. I just had absolutely no foresight about the pandemic at all. And, neither did anyone else. Despite what some people will tell you, but a lot of people don't even have hindsight about it. It feels like America still thinks it just wasn't a big deal, or even I just put it in the past tense right there. Erica says it's still going on, and I feel like, well, not everywhere, but yeah, it is. It isn't in the U.S. because the U.S. has never made any effort to try and stop it. And people are still getting sick with COVID on the regular. The way that the way that the American pharmaceutical companies advertise COVID, medication, like right alongside cold medicine, makes it feel like that was their plan all along. They're like, well, this is something we can sell more medication for. The little girl ran by me and fell down. She looked very shocked about it. Anyway, I'm trying to become a professional rambler. Oh, please let me know how you think I'm doing. But the thing I'm trying to get back around to is, where am I going after this? Where's the next destination after Hoi An? Well, like I said, I'll post it later. I'm not exactly sure. My thoughts right now are Thailand or China. Like I said, I'll come up with more than just two options, but I'll pick one place. It won't be Bangkok, but I'll pick a place in Thailand. And I'll pick probably three different destinations in China. And that's just because China's big. There's a lot of places to go see there. And, I guess I want to get started. So if people are more interested in Thailand, and Thailand is interesting and fun, and, wouldn't be a wrong answer at all. So I'll put that on the list. But every other place is going to China, I think. And I think that's regardless of whether I move there. I'm hoping he can get that visa and I'll be there, in which case this will be an even easier transition. But, well, another thing to remember is I don't think it's going to cost an arm and a leg to move back. But I should have the money to take a trip and move back, and not hopefully, I'll just tell Yuri I want to do this, and he said that I can work this what do you call this? the streaming into my, not contract, I'm saying into my work schedule, I guess, to be part of it. But I'm also not clear on how he thinks I'm going to make money while I'm there, but he's certain I can make it, hand over fist, right and left. And I got to be honest, I'm not certain about that, but I am certain I don't want to work for other people. If I ever can get just completely out from working for someone else, that's like my main goal. Because and that came into my mind. Not that I didn't want to before, but during the pandemic, it was like, okay, you're screwed because you've relied on all these employers all this time to take care of you. And when push comes to shove, they're not going to do that. And that's not a surprise, but also they just crystallized it. So I don't need B. What just popped up? I don't need Shopee. No, I have talked through all this. Boy, howdy, did I pay for this? I certainly hope I did. I feel like I'm not going to get up and pursue it. Anywho, what was the thing I was trying to get to before? Oh, where I'm going. So I think it's going to be that. But here's the thing. I also need to look at weather in these places. The only reason I'm thinking I can do another vacation is because I'll have time between this contract, and whatever the hell I'm doing in Chencho. And during that time, I could do what I want. So I'm not sure. I can tell you this, I'm already thinking about it. So as soon as I get back, I'll start doing research, start trying to figure things out. Then I can put together a list of options and see if I can save. I should be able to. But it also just feels that way because being in Vietnam is so cheap, so compared to most places. I got to be honest though, Thailand's more expensive. But if the best location were something like Cambodia, that would be even cheaper. Still culturally relevant. Langom Bao Truk Pottery Village. Okay, this is just one of the 5 villages. They've got it divided up by village. So it sounded like there was an ancient pottery village from which all of this artisanship, the tradition comes from. And many years back, they moved from the one village and out to create Well, I feel like we've done our first streams. I mean, obviously this channel's been around a while, and we've been doing this for a while, but our first real, full streams that we've been able to do have been here in Vietnam. And I can't think of a better place to start, except for one thing. I feel like we'll learn a lot in the future and be able to show and do more justice to places in the future, and Vietnam will kind of already be banked. But to me it feels like Vietnam deserves it maybe a little more than most places. Still an amazing place to start out, so I'm not complaining about it. It's great to be here, and we will do more. No matter what happens, we'll do more episodes in other places in Vietnam. And we may at one point be able to also just do places where we don't do full live streams, but we do more like we did during the years of living pandemically, when we would just do one shot, shows about this or that. Maybe or maybe not live streams, but just something, because we can go to a place that's interesting, but maybe it's not a big tourist site. I'm trying to get out of my head that we're going to one day be able to, show the off the beaten path. Because, I lived in Asia for almost 10 years, I'm all about, but this doesn't make it a vacation desk, but it is off the beaten path. So I feel like that sort of thinking should come with a warning. Occasionally you find great stuff off the beaten, and then you have lesser tourism, like a place like Delight, where it's definitely not undiscovered. Plenty of tourists there. It's not a tourism. It's not a place that's about sites. Like, you gotta go see this site and that site and then check them all off your list. It's just a beautiful, relaxing mountain town. Well, since I screwed up and just decided it was all courtyard today, we're kind of doing the museum dash. I'm not stopping to read any of it, and there's a lot more here than I thought. I'm going to go ahead and admit to that kind of in end of vacation mode. I'm just looky-looing at things and not really internalizing a lot. The terracotta, not the most fascinating, because it's still part of history, so it's cool and interesting. I'm mostly enjoying the environment of the museum. I love the aesthetic. It's I'm not sure if you would call it brutalist. It's terracotta and concrete, and we're going to go with the other. I like the way things are laid out. If it looks haphazard to you, that's intentional. The other building looked haphazard just because it was haphazard, but this one is well arranged, and the presentation highly intentional, and I like it. These are new buildings. Ooh, I'm making wind noise. I thought we were going up to another level. We're on the roof. That's I don't know what you can see. That's the courtyard where we came. We're taking pictures, so we'll go swoop around the other. Basically, just trying to get the whole 360.
Jag är där och man kommer runt 100 personer som tar över. men sen kommer man in på den rum. Men jag kan ändå vara lite lobbyad. 4. Den är typ. Jag kan hålla sig på front. Helvete! Inkom det! Ja, jag är den Peter. Och så kommer runt den personer som tar över. Men sen kommer man in på den rum. Men jag kan ändå vara lite lobbyad. 4. Den är typ. Jag kan hålla sig på front. Helvete! Inkom det! Ja,